Helen's Daughters, an organization dedicated to building the individual and collective capacity of women's farmers in the Caribbean region so they can exercise their economic rights, held their 2-day Unconference on agriculture. Both days were filled with a variety of activities, including balcony chats, workshops, and in depth discussions on topics such as food as medicine and the role of men in advancing gender equality. Attendees also enjoyed exciting live performances. Helen's Daughters founder and executive director, Keeflin Karu Afrifa, highlighted the event's importance, expressing her hope that the agricultural community will develop a more unified voice.
We talk about issues like, for example, access to finance. We had Lucius Elivic here and Tracy Polius, Lucius from the Library Credit Union, Tracy Polius from ECCB, and that was a really interesting discussion because I think persons got educated on the alternatives. So hearing it from the perspective of bankers, and bankers, of course, hearing it from the perspective of their consumers. I think having that unified voice can allow us to advocate for things like better access to finance, for access to land, and so forth. I think before we try and do anything, we need to have almost like a block, a negotiating block, if you will.
She also hopes farmers will realize that government assistance isn't the only solution and that farmers, especially in the Caribbean, need to come together as they often work in isolation. Afrifa emphasized that this event is not only about building capacity, but also about fostering community power. She expressed joy and gratitude for the tremendous support received from sponsors.
I think for the first year, a lot of sponsors stepped up, and the beauty of our sponsorship was that you were not just a sponsor, but a partner. So aside from the balcony chats, we had almost like a ecosystem agency area, so you could learn from persons like, for example, Fix, what products they have designed for farmers, the Climate Change Justice Project, what materials people could use to understand climate change. We had Massey, Lucelec, Energize, the French Embassy. There was so many sponsors that were physically here, the Regulated Substances Authority, and so forth. So people could actually see who exists within the agriculture ecosystem and who can actually support them.
Afrifa shared that she expects a shift in mindset and attitude toward farming following this event. She noted that in the Caribbean, particularly in St. Lucia, agriculture has been overlooked and only seen as farming rather than an integral part of our culture. She hopes this perception will change. One participant, Dr. Jimmy Fletcher, Managing Director of Soloricon, praised the event.
It's amazing how Keeflin has been able to mobilize female farmers in this country who have traditionally not really been the focus of attention. When we think of farmers, we always think of the males, predominantly the males, but the women are the ones in the background and many times too in the foreground, doing a lot of the work, keeping the family together, farming. And the fact that Keeflin has been able to grow this into what it is and to see the manifestation of that hard work, with this Unconference on agriculture, something different, exposing the farmers to so many different things, the nutraceutical part of it that we heard from Priest Kalash and so many of the other, the cooking. It really is amazing, and I really commend Helen's Daughters for the work that they've done.
He challenged attendees to do even more work, as there remains a significant need for revitalizing St. Lucia's agricultural sector. Fletcher acknowledged the efforts made by the government, but emphasized that much more needs to be done. Kayla Edwin, NBC Prime.